Nhặt mẹ rồi.
Bom đặt rồi nhé. Bom A nè. Quá đỉnh. Có bom rồi.
Mẹ muốn đá mà chưa đi đá được luôn. Chết thật. Bên kia toàn hạng C vậy.
Có nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Ơi,
Khói nè.
sao để nó qua mít vậy?
Thắng rồi. Rất ít chiêu nào. Đã đặt bom ở khu A. Ok, nhặt bom nào. Khói nè. Khói nè. Không đồng ý. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. À. Nhặt bom kìa. Không được, hết. Thua rồi, Robert đã thắng. Tiến lên nào kìa. Khói nè. Khu A, lựu đạn nè, né đi. Khu A. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Đã đặt bom ở khu A.
Đi cửa vào chết luôn. Không nói nhiều. Không đi luôn. Nó núp rồi.
Thắng rồi, rất ít chiêu nào. Mù nè. Ok, chiêu nào. Đi tìm bom đi. Lựu đạn nè, bom ở đây. Khói nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Khói nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Canh vùng A rồi. Đừng hết ngay căn cước à? Ê! Chết cười.
Khói nè. Mù nè.
Vô mít. Của bị gặp mà. Trong A. Ghê.
Mù nè. Lựu đạn, né đi. Khói nè. Đã nhận. Mù nè. Lựu. Khói nè.
Ê! Một mồm. Bít mồm. Bít nó.
Đã rõ.
Nó ra mít luôn á.
Mù nè. Khói nè. Lựu đạn, né đi. Mù nè. nhận.
Hai mid. Ngách.
Lựu
Ui.
đạn, né đi. Khói nè. Mu nè. Có hàng nè.
25. À từ từ tôi đi đái cái. Buồn đái quá. Anh em nghe nhạc chờ tôi tí. À thôi cứ bấm đi.
Lựu đạn, né đi. Khói nè.
Niệm rồi.
Con đặt rồi nhé. Con B nè. Đã rõ. Lựu đạn, né đi. Khói nè.
Rồi ông thần Bitcoin này rồi.
Mu nè. Khu B. Quá bình thường. Cũng tạm được. Khói nè. Lựu đạn, né đi. Khói nè.
Ừ, chào Đạt nhá.
Lựu đạn, né đi. Lựu đạn, né đi. Mu nè.
Gì đi A hết vậy. Một móc mít nhỏ cống. Hay lắm. 42.
Khói nè. Lựu đạn, né đi. Khói nè. Lựu đạn, né đi. Mù nè.
Một thằng BQT mồm rồi.
Quá bình thường. Bom A nè. Có bom rồi. Ok, chiến nào. Khói nè. Lựu đạn, né đi.
Lâu quá không chơi game này. Chơi thôi.
Khu B.
Đánh B.
Bom đặt rồi nhé. Bom B nè.
Khó mà thắng rồi. Trận này khó. Team toàn fit này.
Thua rồi, Douglas đã thắng.
251405 này bắn gì? Cái kia đều cái kia cơ mà.
Mù nè.
Chỉ trả 1C không vào đi. Ép lên. Núp gì thế?
Nhặt bom kìa.
Đùa. Bắn sợ chết vậy.
Thua rồi, Globalist đã thắng.
Để cái thằng ngáo ngáo kia nó giết mình rồi. Hỏng thật.
Mù nè. Khói nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Vỡ mồm.
Mẹ. B1.
Nhặt bom kìa.
Ui.
Thắng rồi, Douglas chiến nào.
Sao cả km thế?
Ok, đi thôi. Mù nè. Mù nè. Lựu đạn nè. nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Cố lên.
Khu B.
Thằng BQT nó hay ép láo B đấy. Ấy đủ.
Khó nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Khó nè.
Đã như thế mà được có 17 máu á. B2. Trận này trả điểm rồi. Nghĩ lắm.
Khó nè. Khu A. Khu A.
Địt mẹ thế mà được có 21. Còn hay. Chịu ấy.
Mù nè. Khó nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Đi đi.
Khu B. Vỡ mồm. Đã nhận.
Khó vãi chưởng. Hmm. Quả tim này thì toang.
Nhiệm vụ đang ngụy toàn bộ cứ điểm. Ok, chuyến nào?
Khu B.
Đã nhận. Đã nhận. Khó nè. Khó nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Yeah. Khói nè. Thấy bom rồi. Bom ở đây. Đặt bom ở B.
Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Ok, chuyến nào? Khó nè. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Khói nè.
Mù nè.
Mù nè.
Khoa. Khoa.
Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Đã đặt bom ở khoa. Mù nè. Thắng rồi. Rất lít.
Đủ mẹ, một máu luôn.
Ok, chuyến nào?
Là số điện thoại của web đồng chí à?
Lựu đạn nè, né đi.
Chủ shop bên mình bác ơi.
Nè, né đi.
543. Tên Huy nhỉ? Trần Quốc Huy. Gọi thử xem. Muốn mua nick thì gọi thử xem.
Lựu đạn nè, né đi. Mù nè. Khói nè.
Một brick là hắn.
Khó vãi.
Tiến lên nào. Khó nè. Khó nè.
Mad at Scott still, or
Yeah.
is this just
Well,
hype?
he hasn't spoken to Scott in however many years, and he was very mad at Scott.
But was he
The
ever
first-
like real close with Scott that you'd call him up and say, "Hey, like let's talk about life"?
No, but John's mad at him. Trust me, I know John.
Okay.
He's mad at him.
I mean, I talk to John occasionally. I have a friendly relationship with him, and he's never brought that up to me. But I could.
No, I don't think he'll
I-
bring
I-
it up.
It is tough because I can understand John's point of view because we've all asked each other, "Hey, can I tell you something privately?" And I don't know.
Listen, if Benji, if you were sending writing samples for another show, would you ask me to proofread them, and then and not tell anyone, or would you go to somebody else?
I would.
and it's-
I would probably ask Hien to proofread.
You know what I'm talking about. And the other thing too is
No,
that-
I see what you're saying. It is a dilemma.
But here's,
It is like
here's the other thing. What does John give a shit? He got the job. It would be a worse
Well,
transition.
I don't
if he
know.
didn't
I
get the
want to
job.
hear from John if he really is that pissed about it.
All right, we'll call John tomorrow.
I was gonna say-
So we'll take our call.
I was gonna say if Gary can ever
But
get in
if
touch with
John
him
is,
live-
I think I can. It depends on what
I
the
get
level.
I get what you're saying, except for the fact that if he really didn't want anybody here to know,
I guess
he
I
should
don't
have gone
understand. Like,
elsewhere.
well, why would John be pissed at that point that he got the job?
Right, he got the job. What's there to be mad at? If anything, he's got the last laugh on Scott.
I guess he feels betrayed by Scott in some way. I don't know. Scott, if you're listening, come down. Maybe you can explain this.
We should get Sal down here and some of the other people too to talk about. I didn't realize this till after John left, but John had his own little fiefdom going that I was unaware of.
Oh yeah.
And he would like put people on probation and punish them, and he would not talk to people for weeks on end. And there was really like a reign of terror when John was in that office.
Sal's spoken about that before, how he was on 2 weeks probation for doing something
But
wrong.
Jason and Will, he would give them shit. Like if they rubbed him the wrong way, he would get really mad at them and just ignore them for weeks on end.
He did get mad at me once. Like
For what?
Has anyone ever seen Scott run? Oh, sorry.
What did he get mad at you for, Benji?
I wanted to start doing stand-up, which I actually all my life I've always sort of dabbled in it.
What, John got mad at you? You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had started doing stand-up. And I had worked something out with the New York Comedy Club to do some stuff there.
Right.
And he felt that I was getting in on him doing stand-up.
But why couldn't you both do stand-up?
Yeah.
He felt I was like getting in on his thing.
Right, because once he's doing it, it's his thing.
Yeah.
So did that put an end to your stand-up?
Oh no, just because my laziness did at the time. But he got real mad for a while.
Scott's here. Scott, John used to mess with you a lot, right?
Oh, constantly. He never stopped messing with me. That was his life.
And no matter how mad you got, it didn't stop him. It didn't slow him down.
Never. I mean, he would, the phone tricks, the money on the floor tricks with the string.
What else? How else would he fuck with you? If you
Hey,
can
wait!
remember?
Didn't he do something? This is all coming back to me now. Didn't he convince the guy at the garage to say that your car was gone? Did he never pulled that one off? He was working on that one.
No, he never did. No, he never. That never worked. That never. But I mean, he would love to constantly fuck with me every way he could.
Now, you had this tape. Like, when you did it with him, did you think, okay, one day I'm gonna,
when
he'll get his?
Not really. I just. He came and he said, I want to record this thing. And I really didn't know what it was for. I thought it was like a goof. I didn't think it was a serious audition tape because it obviously didn't sound like a serious audition. He wasn't an announcer. So I just took it like, all right, I don't know what the fuck he's trying
You thought
to...
it might be a bit of some kind?
Yeah, I wasn't positive what he was doing.
And were you giving him that detailed feedback on his performance as it went on?
I gave him... because I didn't know what he wanted to do. So he went on. He was asking advice. Does that sound good? I'm like, yeah, you can, go a little more up and, try one easy, try one more, high energy.
Was there ever any discussion like, hey, I'd like, can you help me with this and keep it private?
Yeah, he didn't want anybody to know about it.
And did you agree to not say it?
Yes. As a matter of fact, after we were done, he told me to email it to somebody, and they said, please destroy it. And he actually came over to my computer and watched me delete the file.
And
unbeknownst to him, there was a copy of that file somewhere else on the computer.
So what made you decide eventually to give it to this
And I knew I had to save it because
evil genius?
I mean,
Gotcha.
Howard's mantra was always record, never stop recording.
Right.
Record everything.
Right.
And save everything.
Right.
So that's what we did, and that's what I did.
But I'm saying, at what point did you decide, okay, I'm going to let Gary and the guys know that we've got this?
See, I forgot about it and figured out it was fucked. And then a few months later, when John came out and announced that he was leaving to go to the Tonight Show as their announcer, I go, that fuck. And I realized I still had that tape.
Wait, why that fuck?
Because, I mean, he was just like, how can he possibly be an announcer with that kind of voice?
Oh, okay. So you're saying like that fuck, like how can he reach this level?
Yeah, I mean, he's the classic example of falling up.
And how did John react to you? How did he treat you after that? Gary says he hasn't spoken to you since.
No, I saw him once out in Vegas, and he barely looked at me.
But I mean, that day, if you can remember back.
Oh, God, he was so angry. I mean, he's like, I trusted you. You were my friend. You tell me things I don't tell anybody. And he was just so mad. I mean, I had it, and I excuse me, I saved it for a great time, and I wasn't going to use it until he announced that I'm the announcer on the Tonight Show.
Right. So you did no harm in that sense, but he's still pissed that you betrayed his confidence.
Yeah, he already had the job. I didn't fuck it up. In other words, I didn't go right to Howard and say, John recorded this tape. I held it.
All right, and JD, you love when Fred was doing Scott giving John advice during the session, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. I've seen Scott in the middle of recording sessions, and he just sits there, like doesn't react to anything you say or do, and just stares at the waveform going by that's recording.
Wait a minute. And Artie was like, "Oh, Scott's one take. Get out. You're done. You don't need it. It's perfect." That's not true.
You think that's unfair?
That was unfair, yeah.
Oh, you think you're the most welcoming engineer when you go in there to do stuff, when people come in to do stuff with you?
Of course I am.
Bullshit.
Come in. Have a seat. Relax.
What's he like? What's he like?
The fuck do you want?
Hey, it's Gary Dell'Abate, Baba Booey. On Wednesday's wrap-up show, we talked about how we had on the best guest we could possibly have on, one of the greatest musicians of all times, an American icon, Paul McCartney. And then we also talked about how Robin hurled herself at him to try to get a date and was rebuffed. That's how it went.
There was a Beatle up here today, Gary, and it was Sir Paul McCartney.
Will and I were talking. First of all, we were trying to figure out, is there a guest? Who's the biggest guest that's ever been on the show? Who would you say is bigger than him? And we couldn't come up with anybody. Mickey Mantle. We had Mickey Mantle on the show once, but
I would say McCartney's bigger than Mickey Mantle.
Okay, Schwarzenegger at the height of his fame.
McCartney's bigger.
I agree. We couldn't think of anybody. I can't think of anybody that's been on the show that's bigger than McCartney.
And
he transcends everything. My mother, who's 82 years old, knows who he is. My 11-year-old was thrilled he was coming in, and everybody in between gives a shit.
It's funny you said that. I told my daughters that, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, "One of the Beatles is coming in." I'm like,
they were thrilled.
Yeah,
and I got to tell you, the big announcement that Paul made, which I knew already, that was exciting, is that there's a Beatles rock band coming out.
I know. I don't know if it's Guitar Hero or Rock Band. I think it's Guitar Hero.
Well, one of those.
Howard, do you play Guitar Hero? And he goes, no. But he's going to make a ton of money off of when the Beatle version comes out. But and Steve Brandano, hosts the Intern Show, which is on 7 o'clock tonight on Howard 101, made an interesting point when he did his thing. He said the interns were more excited about Paul McCartney than they were for Brody Jenner.
And Will and I were trying to figure out he came up with security, but it wasn't like insane security. I've heard people who aren't as big as Paul, come up through the back entrance with tons and tons of security. But we were saying that there's a guy whose every move is monitored. If he blows his nose and throws a tissue in the garbage, some idiot's going to fish it out.
That's true.
People watch everything he does, and being that guy, he's pretty level-headed, pretty low-key considering.
I remember, and you guys know we're huge Beatle fanatics, but I remember reading a lot about how he sort of drives his own car. He's very down to earth. Now, granted, he's one of the richest men in the world, but he's sort of a regular guy in a sense, which I know you're thinking, how could he be a regular guy?
He's as regular a guy as you can be with $1 billion. No, but I mean that as a compliment. He's as regular a guy as you can be. I liked his take on Ringo. How Ringo's always been sort of a curmudgeon. Ringo's always been one of those guys who's been irritated by people. Peace and love, peace and love.
And how they cut off his head in Liverpool. That's over here. I mean, you got to be careful.
They cut
Liverpool
off his lawn head.
Yes, his lawn head, not his actual head. But Paul, I'm trying to think of another. And if you have any ideas, call in with it.
I would say
of a guest who's rivaled Paul McCartney.
Mantle is the closest as far as being an icon, and I still think McCartney's bigger.
I agree. And we were all in awe. We'll get to Robin, who was particularly in awe. Somebody said Robin is out Lisa G'ing herself in making her play for McCartney.
I told Will we needed to put a bucket under her chair.
But you know what? You can't blame her. And we were talking about it